Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are diving deep into what is, well, arguably one of the most crucial real-world communication tasks you'll ever face.
Mm.
Navigating the full communication life cycle of dining at an English-speaking restaurant. This isn't just about ordering food, right? It's about confidence.
It's total independence, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We pull together a rich stack of resources covering, everything. The essential vocabulary, some fluency hacks,
Yeah.
and that step-by-step dialogue you need from the moment you walk in all the way to paying the bill.
So our mission for you, really, is to synthesize all this material.
Yeah.
To pull out the most essential phrases, sure, but more importantly, to get the structural foundation of how polite communication works in a restaurant.
Right.
By the end of this deep dive, you should be able to walk into any dining experience, whether it's a casual lunch or something a bit more formal, with zero anxiety.
Okay, so where do we start?
Let's start right where we should, with the critical vocabulary that you absolutely need for safety.
Safety first. The sources were very, very clear on this. There are two health-related words you have to be able to use without even thinking. The first one deals with a kind of worst-case scenario.
Food poisoning.
Food poisoning. This is when you eat bad or contaminated food, and it makes you seriously ill.
And what really stood out to me was that anecdote the sources shared.
Oh, the one about Morocco?
Yeah, the traveler who thought they were drinking fresh juice, but it turned into full-blown food poisoning. It just highlights that this isn't a minor upset stomach.
No, it's a systemic illness. It's bacteria. So that term, food poisoning, that's the one you need.
And the second one is probably more common, and it's immediate.
Allergic. This is so vital. An allergy means one specific ingredient like peanuts or shellfish or milk causes a harmful reaction in your body.
Being able to say, clearly, I'm allergic to nuts, or asking, does this contain shellfish? That could literally be a lifesaver.
Absolutely.
So once we've covered safety, we can talk about the fun stuff, the place itself. The sources gave us some great descriptors for restaurants. For instance, if someone says, let's go to a bistro, what are we picturing?
A bistro is a fantastic term. It's traditionally a small, informal restaurant, often with a French vibe.
Huh?
The key thing is the price. It's moderately priced, so not a cheap diner, but definitely not a five-star white tablecloth kind of place.
So it's good quality without the huge bill.
That's the idea.
I wonder, though, is bistro still really tied to French food, or has it sort of expanded?
That's a great point. While the origin is French, I think the meaning has broadened. Now, it implies that intimate, moderately priced vibe more than the specific food.
Right.
But if you hear it, expect a nice atmosphere. Now, contrast that with this brilliant idiom we found.
A hole in the wall.
Yes,
That phrase is just gold, isn't it?
it is, because the literal meaning is, a small, unimpressive place.
Right, it sounds bad.
But it's completely the opposite. It describes a very small, often cheap restaurant, but, and this is the key, these spots are almost always known for incredible, authentic, high-quality food.
So as a term of affection, it signals you found something special.
Exactly, an insider tip.
And speaking of quality, let's just quickly run through some positive words for food. We want to move beyond just good or nice.
For sure. The sources pointed to fantastic and outstanding for something truly excellent.
And tasty. I feel like that's a really natural, everyday word for delicious.
Very natural. And don't forget the decoration and design. That sets the whole mood.
Okay, so that's vocab. Now let's jump to pure fluency. This is the stuff that separates someone just reading a phrase book from someone who sounds like they actually speak the language.
And the sources were insistent on this one point. Native speakers use contractions all the time.
This is so critical, not just for speaking, but for listening, for understanding what people are saying to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're waiting for the server to say, I would recommend the soup, you're going to miss it.
Because they will say.
I'd recommend the soup. That little shortening changes the whole rhythm of the conversation.
And that rhythm gets even faster in casual chat. If a friend wants to strongly suggest a place, you almost never hear, you have got to give them a try.
No, it just melts down.
It becomes, you got to give them a try.
Yeah.
The hack here is just training your ear. Without it, the conversation will always feel too fast.
It's an auditory hurdle you have to clear. Okay, so now we're fluent. Let's start the conversation. You need a recommendation. How do you ask?
The sources lay out 3 really simple, interchangeable ways. You can ask, do you have any suggestions?
Okay.
Or do you have any ideas? Or maybe a little more subtly, do you have any thoughts?
Short, polite, effective, and when you're the one giving the suggestion.
We heard those phrases earlier. The polite, contracted, I'd recommend giving it a try.
Or the really enthusiastic one.
You've got to give them a try. That's a full-stop endorsement.
But what's just as important is knowing how to say no politely, how to decline a suggestion without being rude.
For that, we found this fantastic soft phrase, I'm not all that crazy about.
That structure is so powerful because you're not saying, I hate Italian food.
Right.
You're saying, I'm not all that crazy about Italian food. It frames it as your personal preference, not a judgment on the food itself. It keeps things positive.
And if you want to state what you do want, you use the phrase in the mood for.
Meaning you want it right now.
It's about a specific, immediate craving. I'm in the mood for something a bit lighter, or, I'm just not in the mood for beef tonight.
Okay, so now we are ready to walk through the door of the restaurant. The sources all emphasize that for arrival and seating, clarity is everything. Short, clear English.
It starts with a simple greeting, hello, or good evening.
But the single most important sentence to get right is,
A table for number, please.
that's it.
That's it. No need for anything more complicated.
And then the host will probably ask, do you have a reservation?
If you do, it's brief. Yes, I have a reservation. My name is Name.
And if you don't?
Keep it simple. No, I don't. Do you have a table available?
What about special requests, like you want to sit somewhere specific?
Use those polite modal verbs, can or could. So, can we sit by the window? Or, is there a quiet table? The whole interaction is just simple sentences and polite phrasing.
Okay, we're seated. The menu arrives. We know the basic structure, appetizers, mains, desserts. The real challenge is when you see a dish and have no idea what it is.
You have to ask. Politeness here comes from how you structure the question.
Right, so not just an abrupt, what is this?
No, you'd say, excuse me, what is this? Or even better, can you tell me what is in this dish?
And what if you're worried about the flavor?
It's helpful to know the basic categories. You can just ask, is it spicy, or is it sweet, or salty? It prevents any unpleasant surprises.
Makes sense. Okay, so when you're finally ready to place the order.
Again, keep it simple. Politeness. You can make a clear statement like, I'll have the dish, please.
Or a request.
Or a polite request.
Right.
Can I get a Vel-A-N drink? The key is always tacking on please or thank you.
What about changes? Modifications?
Be brief. Be clear. Can I have the sandwich without cheese? Perfect. If it's a dietary thing, you state it and ask for an alternative. I don't eat meat. Is there a vegetarian option?
Right. You're communicating your need without creating a problem.
Exactly.
And if you're not ready, or the server's talking too fast.
You need to buy time. Can I have a few more minutes, please? Works every time.
And if you don't understand them, this happens to everyone.
Don't just nod and guess. You have to ask for clarification.
So what do you say?
A simple, sorry, can you say it again? Or, if you want to be more formal, could you speak more slowly, please? Never, ever pretend you understood something you didn't.
All right, moving on to the middle of the meal. The food is here, and the server comes back to check on you.
This is a key little exchange. It happens every time. They'll ask something like, how is everything? Or, is everything okay with your meal?
The easy answer is the positive one.
Yes, everything is great. Thank you.
But what if something is wrong? The order is incorrect, or maybe the food is cold.
Your tone is everything here. You have to be calm. And your correction should use what we call hedging language, like I think, to sound less like you're accusing someone.
Give me an example.
So you'd say, excuse me, I think this is not what I ordered. Or, the food is a bit cold.
It's softer.
Much softer. They're there to help, and a polite tone ensures they'll fix it right away.
And asking for extras, like more water.
Same simple structures we've been talking about. Could I get some extra napkins? Or, can I have more water, please? Simple, direct, polite.
And what about dessert?
You can just ask, do you have any desserts today?
Yeah.
Or, what do you recommend for dessert?
Okay, so that brings us to the final hurdle. Getting the bill and paying. And this is where that regional vocabulary really matters.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
If you're outside the U.S., the most common phrase is, could we have the bill, please?
But in the U.S.,
You're much more likely to hear and use, can I get the check, please?
check and bill, they mean the same thing, just a different word.
Exactly. The record of what you owe.
And if you look at the check and there's a problem,
Same calm tone we just talked about. Excuse me, I think there's a mistake.
this leads us to tax and tip, which can be confusing.
Very. So tax is money for the government. It's not optional. The tip, or gratuity, is extra money you give to thank the server for their service.
And in some places, like the U.S., it's not really optional praise, is it? It's culturally expected because it's part of how they're paid.
That's the crucial insight. And the sources gave us a practical range. 10 to 20% is generally the polite expected tip.
And if you're traveling and you're just not sure?
You can always ask. A polite, is service included or should I leave a tip, is perfectly fine.
Okay, payment methods.
Just state your preference. I'll pay in cash. Or ask, can I pay by card? Or do you take credit cards?
And the big one when you're with friends, splitting the bill.
The best way to ask is, can we split the bill? Or can we pay separately?
And the sources had a really critical tip here.
Yes. Agree with your friends on how you're splitting it before you ask the server. It saves so much time and confusion.
Good advice. And then the final touch.
The polite exit. A simple, thank you very much, the food was great, just leaves a really strong positive impression.
You know, if we pull all this together, the real value isn't just memorizing a list of phrases.
No, not at all.
It's realizing that eating out is real-world training. It connects vocabulary, politeness, culture, fluency. It's a whole practice loop.
Absolutely. And you have to remember that making small mistakes is totally normal. It's part of the process. By just using these clear, polite structures over and over, you're making yourself independent. You get more comfortable every single time.
And here's where we want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. The source has made this really key distinction. Restaurants vary a lot in formality, right? Some are super formal, others are very relaxed. So what stands out is not just what you say, but how you listen and adjust your tone and your words.
That's the core insight, isn't it? Your job as a learner doesn't stop when the English words are grammatically correct.
No.
It ends when you can read the social context. When you know if a formal good evening, may I have a table, is what's needed, or if a friendly hi there, table for two is enough.
And mastering that social tone, that balance between formal and friendly, that's what really separates a language learner from a truly confident, independent communicator. Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission here is simple: to take a stack of sources, extract the absolute gold nuggets of knowledge, and instantly elevate your understanding of the world.
Today, we're diving into an experience that is both incredibly fun and, let's be honest, pretty intimidating when you're in a new country.
Eating out, we are mastering the language of restaurants.
It really is the ultimate high-stakes, real-world scenario for any language learner. It's not just about, getting food.
Right.
It's a whole social transaction. You have to express really specific preferences, handle safety stuff like allergies, deal with problems when they come up.
And then there's the money, the cultural norms like tipping.
Yeah.
All while trying to sound confident and, well, natural.
Exactly.
And that is the challenge. So the source material we've gathered for you today isn't just some list of phrases you can memorize.
No, it's more of a complete framework. It walks you through the entire process, from that first hello at the door,
all the way to understanding why you might need to leave an extra 20% on the table at the end.
Our goal here is to push you past what we could call survival English and get you to a place of real fluid conversation.
The sources really seem to hammer home that confidence comes from precision.
It does. It's about knowing the exact right phrase to use at the right moment, and, maybe more importantly, knowing how to understand the super fast language that's coming back at you.
We're going to focus on those little conversational shortcuts, the things that make you sound so much more fluent. Okay, let's unpack this. And we're actually going to start our journey not at the restaurant itself, but with the language tools you need in your back pocket before you even walk in.
Right. The high-stakes vocabulary around safety, and then those everyday words that just make talking about food feel, well, fun.
Exactly.
So as soon as you step into a restaurant, your ability to be really clear about potential problems is just, it's paramount.
It's number one.
The sources highlighted two really crucial terms that every English learner absolutely has to get right: food poisoning and an allergic reaction.
These aren't just minor points. They can be really serious.
They can be.
So let's start with the one that's a bit more general, but equally horrible: food poisoning.
Our sources define this really simply. It's just getting sick from eating food that was contaminated or had gone bad.
And it's a risk everywhere, so knowing how to talk about it is key for prevention or, well, for reporting it if it happens.
And the source material had this really memorable story to illustrate that the problem isn't always what you think it is.
Oh, this is the one about the orange juice.
That's the one. Someone got severe food poisoning, not from, some heavy stew or undercooked meat.
Things you'd suspect.
Exactly. But from freshly squeezed orange juice they bought on the street while traveling in Morocco.
Which is fascinating, because the implication is that the problem wasn't the oranges themselves, but maybe the water used to wash them.
Or the blender, yeah. The preparation method, it just highlights that when you eat out, you're trusting the whole process, not just the list of ingredients.
And that leads perfectly into the second, much more personal health risk, being allergic.
Right. And this is a critical distinction to make. Food poisoning is bad luck from a bad process. An allergy is your body reacting to one specific thing.
Like peanuts or seafood or milk. The source dialogue had that great example of someone turning down a seafood platter that looked amazing.
Simply because they were allergic. And this is a situation where being polite is less important than being incredibly clear and firm.
So you can't just say, oh, I don't really like nuts.
Absolutely not. You have to be direct. I have a severe nut allergy. Can you please confirm this dish has absolutely no nuts? You might even add, and that you avoid cross-contamination in the kitchen.
And the sources say that in places like North America, restaurants take that very, very seriously.
They do, but the responsibility is on you, the customer, to give that clear warning first.
That is some really practical advice. Okay, let's move to some more positive language. How do native speakers talk about new places they want to try?
The phrase that came up over and over was, check out.
So versatile.
Massively. To check something out just means to go see it, to investigate it. It's informal, it's relaxed.
You wouldn't just use it for a restaurant, right?
Not at all. You'd say, hey, let's check out that new movie, or you should check out the exhibit at the museum. It's just a casual way to suggest looking into something new.
And when we talk about where we're eating, the sources defined a few specific types of places that have different cultural baggage, I guess. Let's start with the bistro.
Yeah, the bistro. It's a French term, and it implies a very specific vibe. It's small, it's usually informal, but it's definitely not cheap.
That middle ground.
It is. It's perfect for a nice dinner that isn't stuffy or pretentious. You expect good quality food, maybe some dim lighting, but you don't need to wear a suit and tie.
Okay, and the complete opposite of the bistro, which I think is a secret favorite for a lot of us, is the hole in the wall.
Ah, yes. The beloved hole in the wall. The name tells you a lot. It's physically small, maybe a little hidden, and the decor is basic at best.
But that's the point, right?
That's the whole point. The idea is they spend no money on rent or fancy decorations, so all their energy and money goes into the food.
Which is often amazing.
Often amazing, authentic, and cheap. It's where the locals go.
So when you're deciding between the bistro or the hole in the wall, you need a way to say what you want right now.
And that's where you use the phrase, in the mood for.
It's all about a current desire.
Exactly. It's about what you want at this specific moment. You know, I'm not really in the mood for a burger tonight. I'm in the mood for something spicy.
And it works for anything. I'm not in the mood for a serious movie. Let's watch a comedy.
The key is that it's temporary. Your mood could be completely different tomorrow.
I think this is a perfect time to bring up one of the best fluency tips from the sources. It's about how to compliment the food once you actually get it.
Oh, this is a great one.
The advice was to stop overusing the word delicious.
Yes. This is such a subtle but powerful insight. Now, is delicious wrong? No, of course not. It's grammatically perfect. But it can sound a little formal, maybe even a bit old-fashioned in just a normal casual conversation.
So what's the alternative?
Native English speakers, especially in North America, will almost always default to tasty.
This soup is really tasty.
Exactly. It just sounds more natural, more immediate. This pasta is really tasty flows much better than this pasta's delicious.
So is it just that delicious is a stronger word, like you save it for something that's truly mind-blowing?
That's a huge part of it. Tasty is your reliable, everyday compliment. Delicious is what you say when the chef comes to your table at a Michelin star restaurant. By switching to tasty in your daily conversations, you just instantly sound more like a native speaker.
That makes so much sense. And for those moments when something really is incredible, what are some other options?
The sources gave us some great ones, like outstanding or fantastic. And for the restaurant itself, they used beautiful decor.
But we can go deeper than that, right? To sound even more advanced.
For sure, you can start describing specific flavors. Is something savory, meaning it's rich and has that umami flavor? Is it tangy with a sharp, sour note like a lemon?
Or is it rich, full of cream and butter? The opposite of that would be bland.
Exactly. Bland, lacking flavor. Using these specific words shows you're not just surviving the conversation, you're actively participating in it.
Okay, so we're armed with all this great descriptive language. Now, let's actually walk into the restaurant and the very first interaction.
Right at the entrance, this first conversation has to be smooth. It really sets the tone for the whole meal.
And the person you're talking to is the host or hostess.
Yep, they're usually at a little desk or stand right by the door, and their job is to manage seating. And politeness here is, well, it's non-negotiable,
Even if the place is a madhouse.
especially if it's a madhouse. A calm, simple hello or good evening goes a long way.
And then comes the single most important sentence you need to have memorized, the one you need to nail.
This is a core phrase. It's simple, clear, and efficient. A table for number, please.
A table for 2, please. A table for 4, please.
Just get the number right and always add that please.
After that, the host will almost always ask the big question, do you have a reservation?
And you need 2 answers ready to go. The first is easy. If you have one, you just say, yes, it's under the name, your name.
But what if you don't?
You say, no, I don't. Do you have a table available? And this is the moment you have to be mentally prepared for the possibility of waiting.
Right. They might not be able to seat you right away.
They might say something like, it'll be about a 20-minute wait, or you can wait at the bar and we'll call you when your table is ready. Understanding that waiting is part of the experience is really important.
And sometimes, after they seat you, they'll say that little phrase, your server will be with you shortly.
That phrase is basically a contract. It's them telling you, okay, my job is done. Someone else is now assigned to take care of you.
Let's talk about special requests. Like, what if you want a specific kind of table? You want to ask, but you don't want to seem rude or demanding.
The key is to phrase it as a polite question. Always start with, can we? Or, is it possible to?
For instance, can we sit by the window?
Or, is there a quiet table available? Most places will try to help you out if they can.
But you also need to be ready for them to say no. How did they do that politely?
They'll usually soften it with an apology. I'm sorry, that area is full right now, or I'm afraid those tables are already reserved. It's important to realize they aren't rejecting you. They just can't fulfill the request.
Okay, moving on to asking for suggestions. This is a great way to start a real conversation with the staff. What are the best ways to ask?
The most direct way is, do you have any suggestions? But to vary it up, you could also ask, do you have any ideas? Or what are your thoughts? They all work.
And the really tricky part here is understanding the answer, because this is where native speakers use all those fast, mashed-together contractions.
This is where you really need to train your ear. The source highlighted a great example. A server might say, I'd recommend giving it a try.
And that is, I would.
It is, but you'll never hear I would. It just sounds like one quick syllable, I'd. If you're listening for 2 separate words, you will miss it every time.
And it gets even more compressed with this stronger suggestion. You've got to give them a try.
Oh, yeah. That one is a monster.
Yeah.
You have got to. Almost never gets said in full.
In real speech, it becomes you got to.
Which then gets squeezed even further into you gotta. This isn't sloppy English, it's just efficient. And the sources are right. Native speakers almost always use the short form.
So recognizing gotta or gonna for going to or wanna for want to is a huge step.
It's a game changer. If a server asks what you want to drink, and you can process that as what do you want to drink, you've unlocked a whole new level of comprehension.
I remember the first time I heard you got, I honestly thought the person was being rude or rushing me. How do you tell the difference between fast, casual speech and actual rudeness?
That's a brilliant question. It really comes down to tone of voice and context. Fast speech is usually friendly or neutral. Rudeness has a hard edge to it, a clipped sound.
So it's about the melody, not just the words.
Exactly. If they're smiling and their voice goes up at the end, even if they say it's friendly, if they bark it at you with a flat tone, that's different. In a restaurant, always assume it's just efficiency first.
Okay, so they give you a recommendation, but what if it's for something you really don't like? You need a polite way to say no.
The source gave us the perfect phrase for this. I'm not all that crazy about.
It's so much softer than I hate fish.
So much softer.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm not all that crazy about seafood implies that maybe on another day you would be, but just not right now. It rejects the suggestion without shutting down the conversation. It keeps the door open for another idea.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because now we're sitting at the table and the menu is in front of us. This is the heart of the whole experience.
And it's where a lot of confusion can happen. Once you're seated, that menu is your whole world for the next few minutes.
So first you have to understand the basic layout.
Right. You'll almost always see appetizers or starters. Those are the small dishes before the main event.
Then main courses, which is the main dish, and often side dishes like fries or a salad that you order separately.
And then, of course, drinks and desserts. But the sources point out that modern menus are getting more complex.
You mean with sections like vegetarian or gluten-free?
Exactly. Or, and this is important, a section for chef's specials. These are often the best things to order because they're made with fresh, seasonal ingredients, but they're only available that day.
And sometimes they're not even on the main menu, right? They're on a separate card or a chalkboard.
Yep. And the physical menu itself is changing. It could be a paper booklet, a big board on the wall, or that now common QR code you have to scan with your phone.
What if you're not comfortable with the QR code? Or you just can't read the tiny text on your phone?
It is 100% okay to ask for help. Just get the server's attention and say, "Excuse me, do you have a paper menu I could look at?" Don't let the technology get in the way.
Okay, but the real challenge is when you see a word on the menu you don't recognize, and there are no pictures.
Right. You have to ask. The polite way is to be direct. Point to the item and ask, "Excuse me, what is this?" Or, a little more detailed, "Can you tell me what is in this dish?"
And what if you need more info than just the ingredients, like how it's cooked or what it tastes like?
Then you can ask more specific questions. Go beyond, "Is it spicy?" Ask things like, "Is the fish grilled or is it fried?" Or, "What's the texture like? Is it creamy or is it crunchy?"
Asking those kinds of detailed questions probably shows the server you're really engaged.
He does. It shows you care about the food, and they're usually happy to talk about it.
So after all that, you're finally ready, the server comes over, what's their opening line?
It'll be something like, "Are you ready to order?" Or, "What would you like to have?" Sometimes it's much shorter, just "Ready to order."
And your response has to be polite. The sources were very clear. You should avoid saying, "I want."
Absolutely avoid it. It's just too abrupt in English. It sounds demanding.
So the magic phrases are,
"I'll have the dish, please." Or, "Can I have the dish, please?" That contraction, "all for," "I will," is key. And of course, you must say please.
and it's the same for drinks.
Same formula. "I'd like a glass of water, please," or "Could I get a coffee?" Using "I'd" for "I would" is another one of those things that makes you sound much more natural.
Okay, now for customization. This is advanced level stuff. Asking for changes to a dish.
The key here is to be clear and reasonable. If it's a small change, just ask directly, "Can I have the sandwich without cheese?" Or, "Is it possible to get the salad instead of the fries?"
And most places will try to help you with that.
Most will, especially if it's a serious dietary need like, "I don't eat meat. Can you confirm the sauce is vegetarian?" They'll usually take extra care with that.
But what if you're just not ready, you're feeling pressure, the server's waiting, you need a way to buy some time?
This is an essential skill. Don't panic. The simplest, most effective phrase is, "Can I have a few more minutes, please?"
What about when the server is the one talking too fast? They're listing off all the salad dressings, ranch, Italian, vinaigrette, and you can't keep up.
You have to politely interrupt. You have to take control of the pace of the conversation.
How do you do that without seeming rude?
You soften it. You can start with a little filler word, something like, sorry, can you say that again?" Or the ultimate magic phrase for this situation, "Could you speak more slowly, please?"
And that's not rude to ask.
Not at all, as long as you say it politely. It's so much better to ask them to slow down than to just guess and end up with a dressing you hate. Using that phrase gives you control and ensures you get what you actually want.
Okay, the order is in, the food is on its way. But the conversation isn't over. Now we move into the maintenance phase of the meal.
Right. This is all about polite check-ins and, if necessary, quality control. It's about handling any issues that come up.
So while you're waiting, the server might come by to check on you.
Yeah, they'll ask things like, "Would you like anything else?" Or, "Do you need anything?"
And if you do need something simple, like more napkins or some ketchup,
The formula is always, "Yes, could I get it?" So, "Yes, could I get some extra napkins, please?" And if you don't need anything, a simple, friendly, "No, thank you" is perfect.
then the big moment arrives. The food comes to the table.
The server will put the plates down and say something like, "Here you go," or, more formally, "Enjoy your meal."
And your response is just a simple thank you, right?
A simple thank you and a smile. It's a small thing, but it's an important piece of the interaction.
Now for the tricky part. What if there's a mistake? They bring you the wrong dish or they forgot the change you asked for?
The number one rule here is, your tone of voice is everything. You must stay calm and polite.
So you don't just shout, "This is wrong."
Definitely not. You get their attention quietly with, "Excuse me," and then you just state the fact. "Excuse me, I think this isn't what I ordered." Or, "I'm sorry I asked for no onions, but this has onions. Could you please fix this for me?"
The sources were really clear that a kind request gets a much faster, better result.
Always. If you're kind, They'll want to fix it immediately. If you're angry, they'll get defensive. It's just human nature.
What if the mistake is really serious, like an allergy issue?
Okay, so if you find peanuts in your dish and you have a severe allergy, the tone changes. It becomes urgent, but you still stay professional. Excuse me, I cannot eat this. It has peanuts and I have a serious allergy. Please take it back. You're not yelling, but you are being very firm and clear about the health risk.
A few minutes after you start eating, the server always comes back for that classic check-in.
Ah, yes, the mid-meal check. They'll lean in and ask, how is everything? Or, is everything okay with your meal?
And in a lot of English-speaking cultures, they're kind of expecting a positive answer, aren't they?
They are. Unless something is genuinely wrong, the standard response is positive and brief.
So something like, yes, everything is great, thank you.
Or, it's very good, thank you. If it's really amazing, you can throw in one of those better adjectives we talked about. It's outstanding, thank you.
But what if there is a small problem? Maybe your soup is a little cold.
Then you give constructive, respectful feedback. You don't say, this suit is bad. You say, it's a little bit cold. Is it possible to have it reheated?
You phrase it as a question.
Always as a question or a gentle observation. It's a little saltier than I expected. It invites a solution instead of just being a complaint.
What about other needs during the meal? Like if you're sharing and you need an extra plate?
Just use that same polite request format. Could we get an extra plate, please? Or can we get another spoon?
And what if the food is taking a really, really long time to come out? Let's say it's been 45 minutes.
You can definitely ask about it, but again, do it gently. Excuse me, we were just wondering about our order. We've been waiting for about 40 minutes.
Stating the time makes it objective, not accusatory.
Exactly. It gives them a concrete piece of information to take back to the kitchen.
Okay, towards the end of the meal, you might want dessert, or you might want to take your leftovers home.
For dessert, you can ask, do you have a dessert menu? Or what do you recommend for dessert?
And for taking food home, what's the best way to ask for a box? I've heard the term doggy bag.
Doggy bag is a very informal, older term. It's understood, but it's better to be a bit more direct. The most common phrase now is, could I get a box for this, please? Or could I get a to-go container?
And throughout all of this, the sources emphasize just adding little bits of small talk.
It just humanizes the whole thing. Saying something simple like, the soup was fantastic, thank you so much. Or if you have to get up from the table, telling your companions, I'll be right back. All these little things add up to a smooth, confident experience.
We have successfully eaten our meal, we navigated the menu, we handled the check-ins. Now comes the final and often most stressful part of the whole process.
The financial part, asking for the bill and paying. This is where language and cultural norms really collide.
So first things first, how do we signal that we're ready to pay?
You don't need to shout across the room. Just try to make eye contact with your server. Maybe a very small, subtle raise of the hand.
And then what do you say?
You have two main options, and which one you choose can depend on where you are in the world.
Okay, what are they?
You can say, could we have the bill, please? Or, can I get the check, please?
And what's the difference?
They mean the exact same thing, but bill is the more common term in the UK, Australia, and much of the world. Check is what you'll hear almost exclusively in the United States.
So using check in the U.S. makes you sound a little more like a local.
It does. But everyone will understand bill. It's just a small nuance.
Sometimes the server just brings it to you without you asking.
Yeah, they'll put it on the table and say something like, no rush, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so you have the bill. The first thing you should do is look at it carefully. What if you see a mistake?
Back to that calm, polite tone. Excuse me, I think there might be a mistake on the bill. Then be specific. We didn't have this item. Could you check on that for us?
And on that bill, besides the food, you're going to see two other charges, tax and tip.
Right. You'll have the subtotal for the food, then the government tax, and then a line for the tip, which is sometimes called gratuity.
And this brings us to the really crucial cultural deep dive on tipping.
This is a huge one, because in many countries, tipping isn't common or expected. But in the US and Canada, it is absolutely essential.
Why is it so important? This is something a lot of learners just don't understand.
It's because of how the servers are paid. In the US, for example, the legal minimum wage for tipped workers is incredibly low, sometimes just a couple of dollars an hour.
So the tips aren't a bonus for them.
Not at all. The tips are their actual salary. That's their primary income. So if you don't tip, you're not just being impolite. You are literally withholding their wages.
That's a massive cultural point. So if a learner isn't sure if a tip is expected or if it's already included, what's the best way to ask?
Just ask directly and politely, is service included or should I leave a tip? Sometimes for large groups, they'll automatically add it to the bill and it will say gratuity included. In that case, you don't need to add more.
But if it's not included, what is the standard expectation? We need to give a clear number.
The standard range is between 15% and 20% of the pre-tax total.
So 15% for good service.
Yes. Think of 15% as the baseline for good, solid service. 20% is for when the service was really excellent, they went above and beyond.
And what if the service was just terrible?
That's the tricky one. Technically, you can leave nothing, but it's a very strong statement.
Yeah.
A more common approach for poor service is to leave a lower tip, maybe 10%, and then speak to the manager privately to explain the issue.
Okay, so you've calculated the tip. Now, how to actually pay? Let's start with cash.
If you're paying with cash, you can just say, I'll pay in cash. You put the money for the bill in the folder, and you can leave the cash for the tip separately on the table.
And for credit cards?
You'd ask, can I pay by card? Or do you take credit cards? The server will then bring a portable machine to your table.
And this is where it can get a little confusing because the machine itself often asks you about the tip.
It does. You'll see options on the screen like 50%, 18%, 20%. You just select one, and it does the math for you before you complete the payment.
Okay, one final complicated scenario. You're with friends and you want to split the bill.
The best advice here is to ask early. When the server comes to take your payment, say clearly, can we please split the bill? Or can we pay separately?
And sometimes they can split it evenly, or you might need to tell them who had which items.
Exactly. It can get complicated, which is why it's always a good idea to sort it out with your friends before you call the server over.
And then as you're leaving, one last polite thank you.
A simple, genuine, thank you very much, the meal was great, leaves a wonderful final impression. If your server was particularly good, tell them directly. You were really helpful, thank you. It means a lot.
So we have made it all the way through the dining experience, and the big takeaway from all our sources is that the learning doesn't stop when you walk out the door.
No, that's really when the reflection begins. If you think about it, a restaurant meal is like a learning laboratory.
It's a microcosm of real life.
It really is. You're dealing with real-time conversation speed, cultural rules, and real consequences if you misunderstand something. That kind of practice is so much more valuable than a textbook exercise.
And a huge part of it is just getting over that fear, right? The fear of bothering someone or sounding silly.
That anxiety is so real for learners, but you have to remember, you are a paying customer. You have a right to ask questions. The server's job is to help you.
And using those polite phrases we talked about, like excuse me and please, really helps.
It completely changes the dynamic. It shows respect and signals that you're not being demanding, you're just trying to understand. Confidence is built by feeling that fear and doing it anyway.
The sources gave us 4 really great questions to ask yourself after a meal to track your progress.
Yeah, these are your personal benchmarks. First, what new words did I hear today? Did you catch the server say a word like sautéed or braised?
Second, did I speak clearly and politely? That's about your own delivery.
Third, was I able to understand the server? That's your listening comprehension. Did you catch it when they said you gotta?
And finally, did I feel comfortable asking questions? And that one is all about measuring your confidence.
Answering those 4 questions honestly gives you a clear roadmap for what to practice next time.
And we have to say it again, mistakes are going to happen.
Oh, for sure. Mistakes are not failures. They are just data. Even native speakers misspeak in a loud, busy restaurant. What matters is the effort and the polite attitude.
We also talked a little about matching your tone to the atmosphere, which is a really advanced skill.
It's so important. At a fancy, quiet, formal restaurant, your language should be more formal. Good evening. At a loud, casual sandwich shop, it's quicker, friendlier. Hi there. Learning to read the room and adjust your language is a huge sign of fluency.
So for the next time you go out, what are some concrete things you can do to prepare?
The sources recommend practicing the key phrases out loud until they feel automatic. Learn a few new food words before you go. And maybe watch some videos of people ordering in restaurants online and try to repeat what they say. It's called shadowing, and it's great for your pronunciation and speed.
And at the end of the day, our definition of success here isn't about being perfect.
Not at all. Success is communication. If you got a table, ordered the food you wanted, and paid correctly and politely, that is a huge win. You were an active, confident participant in a real English-speaking social situation, and that is what this is all about.
We have come to the end of this deep dive into mastering the language of dining. We've covered everything from that first "a table for two, please" to understanding fast contractions like "𝗙𝗂𝗶𝘀𝗵" and navigating the cultural complexities of tipping. Remember, every single time you use clear, polite English in the real world, your confidence grows.
Knowledge is only valuable when you apply it. So the next time you go to a restaurant, don't just see it as a place to get a meal. See it as your personal stage, an opportunity to be an active, confident English speaker.
And this brings us to a final important question. We talked about adjusting your tone, but let's think about precision. If you were dining at a high-end, formal French restaurant versus that quick, casual, hole-in-the-wall sandwich shop, which one demands more precise, grammatically complete English in your requests and compliments, and why? Consider how our expectations of formality change our language and what the social cost might be of getting it wrong. That's something for you to mull over until our next deep dive.